Hello everyone. Today we are in Cambodia, in the capital Phnom Penh, where I will be making a video for you, a brief overview of real estate that is being built in the capital of the Kingdom of Cambodia. We are in a 44-story skyscraper that has been built to modern standards, the kind we're used to seeing. For example, in the United Arab Emirates, we have the opportunity to see everything on one floor at once. Now we'll take a look at a studio, a one-bedroom, a two-bedroom, and a three-bedroom apartment, so you can get an idea of how things are built in Cambodia. So let's go now. First up, we have a two-bedroom apartment. Take note, everything is also up to standard. That is, there are smart locks here, just like in Dubai. Furthermore, of course, there's a smart home system here, so controlling the lights and climate is all done the same way as is common in Dubai real estate. These are two-bedroom apartments, so this is where they are located. They also have two bathrooms. As you can clearly observe, there is no traditional bathtub in this particular space, just a functional and standard shower enclosure and a modern, clean toilet. This thoughtful arrangement ensures that when your esteemed guests arrive and visit, as they frequently do, you can comfortably and conveniently offer them the exclusive use of this well-appointed guest bathroom, providing them with a private and comfortable facility during their stay. As for the apartments themselves, in my opinion, they're not that large, but we were assured that the two-bedroom apartments are not very big. We're looking at apartments that are quite small, let's put it that way. And for me, the space is still a bit lacking. But what you do get is that, according to their standards, a balcony is always included. From this balcony, you get a great view of the city. Right now, we're on the 28th floor. Everything you see in terms of appliances, furniture, the kitchen, including the refrigerator and so on, all of that will be included. In other words, they rent them out fully furnished, as we're used to, completely equipped. The only limitations they have are minor. In every room, we've seen small Baroque-style panels, and they completely lack the concept of a dishwasher. So I didn't see any dishwashers, not in a single apartment. Let's take a look. You can see, yes, the bedroom, if we're just talking about coming in and relaxing, it's fine, but honestly, it's a bit small, that's a fact. Also note that the air conditioners aren't installed the way they are in the United Arab Emirates. They're not hidden. So, what else do we have here to explore? We have a second, equally inviting room, and we'll take a comprehensive look at it together right now. It's precisely the same generous size as the first, and once again, you'll conveniently have a spacious built-in wardrobe and a comfortable, well-placed bed here, ready for your immediate use. The plumbing is already installed. The highlight of these particular apartments is definitely this gorgeous balcony. Just look at the size of it. This entire area will belong to you completely, and it is not included in the apartment's total area. So it's an addition, and it extends all the way to where the bathroom is, where we are now. Overall, you can see what modern Cambodia's capital looks like. It's being built up with skyscrapers. And over time, of course, it will start to look more like the cities we're used to, where everything is made up of modern skyscrapers. Let's move on. So we're moving down the corridor now. Let's go to the next apartment. If I remember correctly, this one is a studio. We'll take a look. By the way, I really like the studio. Why did I like the studio? Because everything is laid out very compactly. You truly get the absolute most value for the money you thoughtfully pay. And the entire entrance experience here is quite standard as well, offering a consistent and expected level of quality. Yes, there's a bathroom and everything you need. Everything is included again. You just move in here. All the furniture will also be installed for living here. Everything will be here. The balcony as usual, the kitchen, and of course a TV. You just arrive, live here, and notice that they have a washing machine on the balcony. We asked why, and to be honest, we didn't fully understand the answer, but nevertheless, the washing machine is on the balcony. They say it's convenient. That's the way it's done here. But usually the washing machine, of course, it's usually hidden away in some cabinet or in the kitchen, but that's not the case here. But on the other hand, the ceilings are very high, 2 meters, 90 centimeters. So in that regard, you definitely feel comfortable here. All right, let's move on. There's a bit of noise that you'll hear, but we're in a building that is currently under construction. Moving on. These are one-bedroom apartments, so there's a living room and a bedroom. Again, everything you see here is included except for the decor. And these lighting elements as well, everything else, and of course the dishes are just for decoration, they won't be included. Everything else is included. I really like the kitchen here. Take a look, it's very compact here. So you have everything you need. Yes, you can cook here. Notice again, the cooktop is very small, basically just enough for one pot. Again, by default, there's an air conditioner, and as I mentioned, a balcony with a washing machine on the balcony. The highlight of these one-bedroom apartments, I have to say, is that it still feels like there's not enough space because the living area is quite small. So basically, you sit down to watch TV, you eat here, and that's pretty much it for the space. That's where it ends. But the real feature here is that there are two balconies. So when you're in the bedroom, you have the option to step out onto your own little balcony. And in general, the view from the upper floor is quite nice, but you need to understand how the capital of Cambodia is laid out. In this case, the house is very well located because we have a view of the water, even though it's in the distance. Further on, there's a view of the royal palace, and in general, you can see the whole colorful character, let's say, of the country. There are built-in wardrobes, and a special feature here is the bathtub. These are the only apartments where we've seen a bathtub. Well, in Dubai, as you know from my reviews, and in Oman, a bathtub is also not always present. There are different trends. Some people install a bathtub because of the layout, some don't. So it's really a matter of personal preference. And the highlight of the real estate in this modern building is the apartments with 3 bedrooms. Let's go take a look at them. By the way, I should mention that the real estate here is selling out very quickly. This particular building will be completed this year, so you can come and move in. As for the price, I'll talk about that a bit later, but there's another feature here. In this building, we only saw it after we went up to the 30th floor. On the second floor, there's what's called a sky garden. What is that exactly? Look, you have an open space, so there's always fresh air all around you, but at the same time, everything is covered in greenery. So you can just come up here and enjoy the view of the greenery. They say that right now there's not much, but soon there will actually be a lot more greenery here. Much more. You have the opportunity to sit down. There will be a small fountain, fish swimming around. It's an open space with fresh air. And most importantly, on these floors, they have meeting rooms. So you just book a meeting room. By the way, the partitions there look very modern, and you can hold any business meeting you need. It's actually a really cool feature. We were also told that despite the fact that, for example, parking, which I consider a downside, is only available for rent here. You don't own a parking space, but there are 5 floors of amenities here. So naturally, as I already mentioned, there will be 2 pools here, one of them on the rooftop, and there's also this sky garden. Of course, there are other amenities here that you usually get with this kind of place, so naturally, it's impressive. It's a pleasant spot that they showed us, and they assure us that when everything is finished, it will look even more beautiful here. So yeah, it's a cool thing. I think it's a big advantage. But when we drive around the capital, in our area, I noticed that many buildings have this feature. They really try to create a garden up high. So, well, these are the standards here, and I think it's great because it's really pleasant to be here. There's no intense heat. And just to come here in the evening, surrounded by greenery, to sit, to chat, it's really nice. It's a cool thing. So yes, the sky garden is definitely something I liked, and it really improves the impression of this building. So look, these are 3-bedroom apartments. There's a spot right at the entrance where, accordingly, people are supposed to take off their shoes. As for outerwear, we don't really have that need here. It's warm here all the time. Here's the first bathroom. And next we have a huge hall, the living room. This is where, accordingly, you're supposed to eat, and this is where you'll welcome guests and relax. The kitchen is huge, and again, everything you see here will be fully equipped. We also didn't find a dishwasher here, even though the kitchen could easily accommodate one. But here, the only thing is that the cooktop has 2 burners, so you can cook 2 things at once. What's special about it? What really stood out about these apartments is that you have a panoramic view from every room. As you walk around, you can basically see almost the entire city. And that, of course, is impressive. Because it turns out that in addition to simply buying a piece of real estate, you are also purchasing the truly magnificent view that you'll get to enjoy. And as we know, location absolutely matters for astute investors and so on. This particular arrangement is very convenient because from the spacious living room, you can immediately access 3 separate, comfortable bedrooms for living. Let's go to the master bedroom, the largest one. Right away, you're greeted by a set of built-in wardrobes. There's plenty of space here, and I like that there's enough room. Of course, it's clear that all of this was set up to make it look nice. I'm not sure if this particular piece of furniture will actually be here, but you can always buy it yourself. Otherwise, you can see how it will look when it's finally handed over. Again, yes, we see that there's an unobstructed view, which is very convenient. There's plenty of space, and again, the ceilings are 2 meters, 90 centimeters high. So the air conditioning here is also not hidden away or done to the usual standards like in the UAE. It's a separate wall-mounted unit, but everything is already connected, so you don't have to worry about it. But here, again, you get a separate view. The spacious bathroom is conveniently located within the master bedroom suite. Of course, it simply must have its own completely separate and private bathroom facility. And in terms of the plumbing fixtures and the overall aesthetic feel here, well, it's certainly not considered premium class, but rather features good quality, durable fixtures and fittings throughout. As for the appliances, for example, there are higher refrigerators here, so there are no issues in that regard. I personally use these appliances myself. Higher, I know how good they can be. Another bedroom, well, it could be a children's room, or maybe it's a space where you can do something else. Of course, everyone will decide for themselves how to use it. Again, pay attention. There's a gorgeous view here, but no balcony. But the view from the window is beautiful. Overall, it looks very interesting, especially considering we're on a high floor. As far as I understand, there were about 40 apartments in the entire building. Let me remind you, there are 44 floors, but accordingly, at the moment, everything has been sold out. They ended up building the structure for 5 years. The developer of this building had to pause construction because of COVID, but in the end, they built everything. They're already finishing up, and all that's left is just to tidy up the building and do the final cleaning. You can move in even before the cleaning is done if you like. Now we're heading to the next bedroom, and again, there's a panoramic view. So we've thoroughly walked through and now have complete access to and can clearly see all three distinct sides of the property. As for the financial numbers, yes, there are indeed some very important prices that absolutely need to be discussed in detail. So it turns out that the estimated cost per square meter is approximately $3,600 to $3,700, which is a significant figure to consider. That's after we negotiated because the initial price was a bit higher. For example, a one-bedroom apartment, that is a living room plus a bedroom fully furnished, we were quoted a price of about $220,000 for the apartment. A little more, it's about 50 square meters, or actually I think it's closer to 60 square meters. So that comes out to about $3,600 to $3,700 per square meter, which is a competitive price. It's a competitive price. Regarding rental income, from the figures I was shown, again, of course, you need to analyze the market and verify everything. And for that, I have a reliable partner I work with in Cambodia who can provide the full range of services. He can tell you everything related to real estate, and thanks to him, we're making this video. I'll leave all the contact information below accordingly. I calculated the prices that were mentioned, and it comes out to about 6 to 7% annual return, which is a very good figure. But again, you need to check all the details and nuances. Yes, do you need to pay a management company, and is there any tax on renting out your property here? But overall, these are decent numbers to start with in real estate. Naturally, you get full ownership rights, and as I understand it, the registration tax is here. There is a small service charge that you have to pay monthly. For a one-bedroom apartment, it's about $90 per month. That's not much. And overall, of course, there are standards. So here there are 2 pools, one downstairs and one on the roof. In Cambodia, they really like to build rooftop pools. The view is phenomenal, that's been proven. So rooftop pools are great, and there's also a gym. All of this is included. One nuance is that parking is not included. So even if you buy these apartments with an area of 180 square meters, which are the flagship units, you still don't get a parking space. You have to rent it. There are enough spaces, there's a large parking lot here, but you have to rent a spot. I would say this is a drawback because the standard in Dubai is that for a 3-bedroom apartment, you get 2 parking spaces. Overall, what are my impressions of what I've seen here? In general, this property gives an impression similar to what we see in Dubai. It's not premium class, but it's good quality. In my opinion, if you want to invest in Cambodia to buy property, then yes, you can do it and buy in buildings like this because you can see the standards. For example, this building is being constructed by a contractor from China who is also involved in the project. It's a state-owned construction company, so they have experience, they have the resources, and overall, because I can feel it, I understand, this is my personal impression. It's close to what we see now in Dubai. That's what it reminds me of. But in terms of the feeling, maybe just a little bit, in terms of how you feel in the space. But I already have some experience. Yes, I know what I'm talking about. And it feels like, well, a couple of years ago, they were building things a bit differently. Well, just a little bit simpler, more basic, compared to what is already standard in the United Arab Emirates, for example, but it's still very good housing. The only thing that's unclear is how the soundproofing will be. They assure us that the soundproofing here is good, with double glazed windows, but it needs to be checked. When I was standing on the balcony, I had the feeling that there was a slight noise. So I think that most likely the soundproofing here isn't perfect after all. Otherwise, this is a great property. I'm satisfied. I thought that maybe everything here would be a bit more basic, but I see that this is modern real estate, the kind that's accepted worldwide and that you can buy. There are apartments of various sizes, so you just choose a bigger one for yourself and calmly invest here accordingly. As for the Kingdom of Cambodia itself, first of all, it left a very good impression. I enjoyed being here. Secondly, it's worth noting that it's clear the country is developing rapidly. And you can see that companies, banks, and people with money are appearing, so the capital is growing. For us, that's the most important thing. If the country is growing, if the economy is growing, then we can earn good money as well. Let's step out onto the balcony, take one more quick look at Cambodia, and then we'll wrap up. So what have we done together? A review of the new 44-story skyscraper in the capital of the Kingdom of Cambodia. Here we carefully looked at all the various types of apartments and truly admired the breathtaking beauty of this truly wonderful and vibrant city that you can genuinely enjoy. Because you can acquire truly modern and sophisticated real estate here, and at the very same time you can fully experience that truly unique and authentic local flavor of exceptional Asian hospitality, which is renowned worldwide. Thank you to the Kingdom of Cambodia, and thank you to the partners who organized this meeting. Invest in real estate, travel, and explore new countries. My name is Alexi Papa. I was glad to make this wonderful review for you. Goodbye, everyone.